If you're tired of not making progress and you're ready to be the artist you know you're meant to be, you're in the right place. You're listening to the Singer's Path podcast. The Path, or Performing Artists Training Hub, will cover everything, including singing tips that actually work, advice from top industry professionals, and life-changing mindset shifts. Out with the starving artist and in with the thriving artist. I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, professional singer, actor, educator, and entrepreneur. I'm not afraid to speak the truth and stop the gatekeeping of quality information so you can actually become the artist you dream of being. So let's get on the path, shall we? Even though we're all on our own journeys, it always helps to have a guide. Hello. Welcome back to the Singer's Path podcast. It's me. Who else would it be? Honestly, you know where you are. You know who I am. Lucky you. Okay, I'm in some kind of mood today. Today it's going to be a little interesting. We're going to address an epidemic that is happening in particularly the theater world. Okay, so if you're a pop singer, you're a cool girl, right? You stand and you sing with your guitar, or you're like pop princess or rock diva on the stage. Okay, this isn't really for you because you're gonna have a different kind of storytelling. But we are going to address the dead in the eyes singing with the musical theater girlies, or sorry to say, my opera girlies who are trying to do musical theater. There's some things going on. And we're going to talk about them today and what to do about this, right? So today we're really going to be managing acting through song. What makes a song engaging, right? Because here's the thing. I have a great teacher and friend named Eric Reese. He used to work at the Bob Krakauer studio. Now he has his own studio and all of that. And he always said, there are two jobs, okay? There's the job before the audition, where you are prepping the material and you're doing your homework and you're coming prepared. And then there's job 2, which is to let it the fuck go and be present. And this is what it is in this moment now. Okay. It's kind of like that with singing and acting here. Okay. Because there's multiple layers. I mean, listen, no one said musical theater was for the weak. Okay. Even though I know some of y'all may think it's cringe, it's actually very difficult, right? Think about it. A lot of people have to be able to dance exceptionally well. They have to sing exceptionally well. They have to act and be completely believable, responding in real time exceptionally well. And then sometimes, there's combat that they have to do and choreography and climbing around. And then they have to not die. Right? When the set is flying in, they have to make sure they are aware of things that are happening around them. They have to interact with, the people on stage and being spatially focused and aware of what's happening. And they also have to look at the conductor who is cueing them for things that, they need to know to start the song and all of that. So things do go awry, and it is a very hard job, and the schedule is grueling. And anyone that comes from musical theater, it says that it's cringe or bad. I'm talking to you, Katy Perry. I don't like how you say everyone's cringe and sounds like theater too much on American Idol. I think that's rude AF. I think that's rude. Okay? So theater singers are, elite vocal athletes. They're crazy. They're insane. So, okay, I'm saying it's hard. It's hard out here. It's hard out here. You're auditioning, you get a job. You need to make sure you're doing all of these things at once. And the most important thing is that it's theater and that you really need to be engaging for the audience to watch. That is in a way that is serving the story and is not about you. Okay. And that's kind of the things that we're going to talk about. First of all, I'm going to start from scratch, okay? You must understand, these are non-negotiables, okay? If you just start singing that song and you did not decide or uncover or figure out what happened, why are you singing at all, right? Because, there's that quote that's when we can't speak anymore, we sing. And when we can't sing anymore, we dance. Okay. So why the fuck are you starting to sing? That's important. You need to know what happened, right? Tony meets Maria. He just meets Maria for the first time. That's why he's like, Maria, I just met a girl named Maria. Right? Like, that's what starts the song. Okay. If I Loved You from Carousel, Billy, whatever his face is, Bigelow, I think, is like, you would never love me. And she's saying, I mean, I would. I'd act all weird if I loved you. Right? Like, so what starts that conversation is him saying, that she wouldn't love him. And then she's responding with like, yeah, I would, dude. Yeah, I totally would. Okay. Another example. All right. Oh God. Musicals. Okay. Let's think So Much Better from Legally Blonde. Okay. What happened? Why does she start singing so much better? Well, she starts the beginning of the song. All of this time, I spent at a patient end. You could love me again. That whole part, right? She just found out that Warner, douche, proposed to Vivian. Like, they're engaged. Okay. They're like going to be together. And that was her ring, right? Elle was like devastated. Okay. And bad news bears to walk in on for her. So that's why the song starts like that. All of this time I've done, I'd be patient and you would love me again. Okay. Then there's a change in the song and she looks at the list and she realizes she makes it on the team. She like passes, to do this elite lawyer team, right? Is that my name up on that list? That's how that upbeat starts. But okay, I know this sounds like self-explanatory, like obviously, Sarah. No, not obviously, Sarah. Half of y'all don't even know what the frick is happening in the musical that you're singing from. And that's fine if you personalize it and you want to make it about yourself, right? Like, say you sing Flowers from Hadestown and you're like, well, I don't really want to pretend that I died and ended up in hell. Okay, that's fine. But something bad needed to happen to you. Okay, you need to be very clear on what that is. It needs to be succinct in your head. If you do not have something that seems real to you that just happened, that you can't get on board to believe, it is right? This is circumstance. This is very important. This is the whole ass reason why you're singing a song. And if you don't know what it is, you're going to look dead in the eyes Russell Crowe from Les Mis. Okay? We're not about that. I'm not trying to have you lose your audience because you're all internal thinking about how you sing. We're not about that here at The Singer's Path. I'm not interested in having you sound pretty okay and completely be boring as fuck. Okay, that's not what we're doing here. What we want is to make sure that you are serving the story. Okay, so first thing is circumstance. You better know why the fuck you're singing. Second step, okay, who are you singing to? This is very important. All right, you need to know exactly who in your life, not a made up person, a real person that you have a real relationship with. Okay. And I know I'm going a little Meisner here, but it's kind of important that you know exactly who you have. You know why? Because that relationship, we can tell when we watch you. If the relationship is vague, right? You're not picking someone that you have some kind of relationship with. And maybe it's with a stranger. Okay. It's like a hot stranger. Okay. Then you need to think about a real hot stranger that you would have an interaction with. Okay. Because that in itself is a form of a kind of relationship, right? If you are not crystal clear that you're talking to your mom or your uncle or your best friend or your boyfriend, we can like psychically tell when we watch you and it looks vague. And what is vague? It is boring, right? The circumstance is vague. If the relationship to the person you are talking to is vague, it equals boring. Say it with me. Vague is boring. Vague is boring. It's boring. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. You're fucking yourself over. Okay? Next important thing, point of view. Okay? You must have an opinion about everything. Everything you say. You have to have real ass opinions about them. Okay. So what you'll do is you'll write out your script. Okay. Get your lyrics. Okay. Maybe it's The Sound of Music. The hills are alive with the sound of music. Okay. That's nice. What do you think? What do you think Maria's opinion about The Sound of Music is? Is she like, oh God, hills are alive with the sound of music. Oh my God, that would be actually hilarious. And I want someone to be a jaded Maria. However, she's like enthralled, right? She has an opinion. It is specific. She loves the mountains. Hell, you might even be imagining you're frolicking in the Alps. And let me tell you, as a person who has attempted to frolic in the Alps, it is very unrealistic once you're there to imagine being up in the mountains and then down in the town. That's just not really how the Alps work. But anyway, but like the more specific you are imagining and embodying and feeling in being there, like really treating it like it's real, right? That's kind of another key thing. You have to treat everything like it's real. If the minute that you go, oh, I'm singing a song, or like you're judging yourself, or you're thinking about how you sound, you are screwed. Okay? Because we as the audience do not want to see you thinking about what you're doing. That's why I brought up step 1, step 2. Step 1 is you should have already drilled the vocal coordination. And at this time, you must let it go and you must be Maria, thinking it's real, frolicking, if that's such a thing, in the Alps. Otherwise, it sucks. Can it? Start over, okay? You must have these tightened down, okay? So we have, reminder, circumstance, right? This is also homework in part 1. You shouldn't be figuring this out as you're doing it, right? But it's separate from the vocal pedagogy, okay? So part 1, right? You know why you're singing. Part 2, you know who you're talking to, and it's someone specific. And we'll get to like why that feels weird if it's like a soliloquy. You're like, maybe it's to myself. Okay, sure. But then you better be very specific on what version of yourself you're talking to. Okay. 3, have an opinion about everything. Point of view. So if you write out all of your lyrics, you can put like POV next to it and you can kind of describe it. Like you can be like, beautiful tree, right? Or the hills are alive with the sound of music, with songs they have sung for 1,000 years. How do you feel about the fact that the hills are so freaking old that the songs of the birds in the trees have been sung for thousands of years? What does that make you feel? Okay, by going through the song and noticing how you feel about literally everything that's happening, again, it creates specificity. It makes it alive. And when it's alive, people want to watch it, okay? The final thing, this isn't necessarily the final thing, okay? This is all layered. Like, this is like, I'm literally describing what it is to be in an acting for voice class, right? A singing acting class that I did in my entire BFA and then like continued coaching after, okay? So these are like what you spend all of your time on, okay? And I'm pressure cooking it down to what you really need, okay? The final thing, well, actually, this isn't the final thing. I guess I kind of skipped something. I want to say something else. There's another thing that's important, which are facts. Okay. So what are the facts in the scene? This is also going to help you figure it out. And it kind of goes in with the circumstance. Okay. What are what is factual about what's happening even in the song or the scene? Before you even start to like memorize it and try to put like choices on it and whatnot, you need to understand like objectively like what's happening, what happened before, and then what is like actually taking place. This is where you have reading comprehension, and it can be done with lyrics. More often than not, especially with scenes, actors don't really know what the fuck's happening, okay? And that's the thing that gets them in the absolute most trouble. They did not do their reading comprehension enough without investing how they're going to do the scene, right? Without projecting their own desires onto the scene. They didn't read it objectively clearly enough, and it's tainting how they view the scene, and then they mind fuck themselves, okay? So another thing you can do, even when you first get the scene, is go through the whole scene and write out what is factual, like every single thing. So say the scene is like, this is the scene my friend wrote that I'm just looking at. It starts with Amara searches a wall of rocks for the right stone. She finds it and pulls it out. Behind the stone is an empty hole. No. Okay, what do we know from that? Amara is searching for something in the stones. There's an empty hole. There's something that she's looking for. Okay, that's what we know. Amara looks around frantically for the pouch. getting to her knees to sift through the dirt. Suddenly, there is a sword at her throat. She stops cold. Bella, predictable. Uh-oh. Okay, what do we know from that? Amara, searching in hole. Okay, we know that Bella kind of snuck up on her and she got caught somehow. Okay, even that. All right, just doing that kind of exercise, and you can do it with your song lyrics. And this will really help you factually, logistically, see where there starts to be changes in the lyrics that will help you kind of shape the journey, so to speak, of the song. Okay. The journey can also be felt musically. We'll get to that here in a second. But doing that factual work, even with lyrics, if we were going to go back to So Much Better, and this is particularly helpful if you really don't know the show, right? Like you should be able to kind of gather what the fuck's happening when you've researched the show and it exists. Like you should probably look that up. But if sometimes, like, listen, most of the shows I audition for are new shows. Like no one has anything on them. There is no research, right? Like we would be making those roles up, right? So in order to understand the story enough, I need to make sure that I have context clues with the information that I was given. And the other thing is, you're not always going to get the full script or the full libretto. Like you're just not. So like the better you get at context clues and reading with with reading comprehension, the better off you're going to be to like actually know how to fucking do the scene. Because if you go into that audition and it is vague, like I said with the other things, and it is in the context clues, you would have not picked up on them. And you're going to look like you don't understand the scene. And that is one of the biggest surefire ways to not even get a callback or second, an audition later. Because the team goes, well, she's not ready to get this material. Even though the team could probably send you, the breakdown a little bit better in the script. It doesn't matter. You need to understand it enough from what they give you. That's actually an insidious, tricky part that people don't really learn until they're working professionally, when you can't rely on research or you get it like super last minute and you have to figure it out really fast. Okay, anyway, so that's facts. I probably should have brought that up first, but that's really important. And again, when you have facts, that's going to make it easier to have a point of view on everything. Have a point of view on every single fact. Have a point of view, like where is that empty hole? Like say we're going back to the scene, right? There was rocks in this Amara character. She's looking for a money sack, right? And, she can't find it. What's her opinion on that? Probably, oh shit, oh fuck, I really need this thing, right? Like, this thing we were saving up. I'm trying to get this money sack and I can't find it and it doesn't exist and now I'm freaking out. Okay. Like that's an opinion. Those are thoughts about what's happening, right? Your character while you're singing and you're acting needs to have thoughts that make sense to the scene. You shouldn't be thinking about you and what you look like and how good you sound. You need to be having the thoughts of the character in the song that you're acting and you're portraying, right? At the very least, having thoughts about the person you're talking to. I just want to take a moment to let you know, going on right now is a once-a-year opportunity to get access to high-quality info. I'm talking about Discover, babies. Listen, this class that I hosted for the last couple years, I did a live event, and it completely sold out. There were singers from all over the planet attending this, like 6 out of 7 continents there. Africa, Asia, the Middle East, Australia, South America. It was insane. People tuned in from all over the world to hear this information. And now, for a limited time only, I mean like literally a few days, okay, until September 30th, 2025, you are going to have access to this world-class, world-famous information for free. Why, you may ask? Well, I get in a little bit of trouble with my business coaches, but I really truly believe that this information should be accessible. Okay. It's really because I was so annoyed when I became a voice teacher that I didn't know this information before. It's information that I think every single singer should have access to. I don't believe in gatekeeping this, right? This is why this is free, because I want you to have this. Now, I have to have some boundaries with it. right? Because it is incredibly valuable. So that's why you have to get it and watch it by September 30th. Because if you don't do that, it's going to be revoked and then you're not going to have access to it for free for like another year, or I don't even know when the next time I'll be doing this, okay? There is literally no reason why you can't pause this right now. Go to the link in the show notes. It's also, if you can't find it in the show notes for some reason, if you go to my socials at Sing with Bish on TikTok or Instagram, you go there, you click that, you pull it up, you sign up, you have to give your email, and then you'll be queued to set up a Kajabi account, and then you're going to have access to this course for free. And literally, I've had teachers all over the world be so excited about receiving it. I've had professional singers all over the world. It's moved the needle for even beginner singers or intermediate singers. It's literally for everyone. And again, I received this information when I started to become a voice teacher. So this is information that's going to help you hear, assess, and address your own damn voice, like the top voice teachers do. And I believe it's imperative that you are on board with what voice teachers are listening for and helping you with when they're listening to you, right? I think sometimes it's not that we don't need our voice teachers. We absolutely do. This isn't by no means saying that you shouldn't book with your voice teachers or it's a replacement for voice teachers. But let's be so for real, okay? We don't always have them in our pocket. You have to practice on your own. Sometimes you go a long time between gigs where you aren't going to be with your teacher, right? So you need to understand the tools that are actually available to you, and you need to know how to actually understand what your voice needs. So let's help you become your own best friend voice teacher, your own world-class voice teacher, not just throwing spaghetti at a wall and doing some bullshit exercises that are just washed on everyone and don't actually do anything and don't actually help. Let's actually equip you with some high quality stuff. So get your butt, pause this right now, go to the link in the show notes, go get Discover. I swear to God, there's literally no reason why you shouldn't already have this. So go take a second, pause, go sign up, get it, have it, watch it by September 30th. Now just get it. You have to watch it because it will be revoked. You go do that. And then after you're done, we'll resume the episode. Next, objective. Now, I don't really love playing objective because I think it kind of locks you in. It kind of makes it a little bit one note. But it can help make, again, the overall picture a little bit easier to kind of at least understand kind of where you're going and what your character's desires are. So for so much better, that objective, circumstance, she just found out that, Elle just found out that Warner's engaged to Vivian. Okay. Objective. I need you to agree that I am so much better off. That's basically what the song is, right? I'm so much better than you, basically. Okay. Point of view, I would probably put Warner as a nasty ass ex who fucking pisses me off. Okay. That would probably be who I would, and I would sing to him as if he, I was talking to that person. I would have a point of view about getting into Harvard, right? Or sorry, making the lawyer team. That's me, booking a lead on Broadway or making holy shit. It has to be a holy shit thing. You have to personalize and make it specific. There's a hot tub line that's pretty infamous. Pick something real that happened as that in your real experience. Basically what it's doing is it's helping you sharpen your lens of the experiences that you've had in your own life and apply them onto your work. And this is how you make work dynamic. And if you are missing this and you are not exact and you have not combed through it and found the strongest choice, right? Because there aren't wrong choices. They're just better choices than others. These are the choices. If you're like, what choice are they talking about? This is it. These are the things you need to decide. And then sometimes I remember being confused about this for a long time of where does my imagination come in? The imagination and the discovering of things is not in you locking down on these things. These things that I just described are your parameters. They're your playpen, right? So when you're a pro, it's important to know, this is really important for singers that aren't as advanced, maybe do community theater and you haven't had this kind of acting training. It's really important to remember we're not trying to recreate the same facial expressions and the same movements exactly and all of that. What you're trying to do is paint yourself like a little guardrail, right? You're creating a playpen around yourself so that you know in the context of how to play. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go, and treat it like it's real. And the imagination comes in like you're actively responding to this playpen that you've set up, okay? So, in a scene, you have all of this worked out. You know exactly what's going on. You have an opinion about everything that's happening. You're listening in the moment then for each cue. And since you've already done the work to understand how you feel about everything, then you're just kind of allowing yourself to respond naturally. And it's going to be different each night. You know why? Depending on how your scene partner responds to you, right? And so your imagination can come in the deepening of those relationships and the deepening of and also, the imagination of also just responding to what's happening, or if they're referring to something else that didn't happen, right? There's some stuff like neurologically that you're going to have to invent. Like say you're doing a scene and they're like, it happened. And you're like, what happened? They're like, I don't know, the party and you weren't there and I'm sorry you weren't invited. I don't know. If there's something that didn't happen exactly in the scene, you're going to still have to like have invented that in your head and like rehearsed it as if it happened, right? Anyway, I'm like giving you a fucking full ass crash course on like the things that you're going to need. Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed, like do not fret. It's just about like combing through each one of these steps and trying to get as clear as possible, right? This is like the background stuff that you do so that you're free to play in the moment. The thing that worked for me for a really long time to make things more alive, because even with this information that I've given you, it can kind of lock down. And again, it can sometimes become about what you're feeling and what you've curated. And instead of holding on to the intention of this scene, like what is the character, what is their purpose here in the scene, and what are they really trying to accomplish here? And when you start to get weighed down by like, oh, this is the part where I cry, or this is the happy part, then it becomes less responsive and less dynamic. And so if you want to try to take it to like Broadway level Broadway, the thing that you can do then, even if you're singing in a song, this is especially true if you're singing in a song, it's almost like whoever you pick to sing to or this song is about, actively, like this is the imagination part too, actively be responding to them as if they're there. Even if it's a soliloquy, you got to treat it like it's real. So if I was to sing, there's a song called I Know You by Heart by Eva Cassidy. It's beautiful. If you don't know who Eva Cassidy, stop the fuck right now and go listen to her. She's like one of like the most iconic voices ever, and she passed away really young and whatever. So Eva Cassidy, 10 out of 10. So she has this song, very beautiful, I Know You by Heart. A midnight in winter, the glowing fire lights up your face in orange and gold. Gorgeous song, okay? I would probably, for me, I would talk to my husband, right? So I put him here. So then in between my lines, I would put something that he would say, or my imagination would imagine him being there, and I see him almost reacting and responding to the thing that I'm saying, to the line that I'm saying. Like that's the imagination part, right? And then based on his reaction from my imagination, that then informs how I sing the next part. So it's like, even though we're maybe singing by ourselves and no one's on stage, it's still staying alive because we're actively engaging and listening to something as if it's there, right? Even if it's not, okay? Yeah, so that's a lot of information. This is in hopes that you actually understand what you're trying to lock down, okay? Another better example that I'll use for this let's use It Roars, because I used this on the Mean Girls stuff when I auditioned for that. So, God, I don't even know if I remember the lyrics. Africa. What are these lyrics? The cut was, did you ever get a feeling that a whole new world is waiting? Bring happiness and friends to the brave girl who explores. It's a scary kind of feeling, but it's so exhilarating. How it roars, it roars, it roars. Okay, so that was the beginning, okay? So did you ever get a feeling that a whole new world is waiting, right? We know in the song, she just found out that she's moving to America to go to real school, okay? And she's super excited. So I just found out that I'm moving to America. Okay, wow. And then I start to sing, right? What is my opinion of America? That it's freaking great. And it's going to be an adventure and bring happiness and friends. And oh my God, this is going to be so cool. To the brave girl who explores, I'm such a brave girl. I'm proud of myself for that. It's a scary kind of feeling, but it's so exhilarating. Yeah, she's saying, I'm a little freaked out, but you know what? It's going to be great because it roars. This exciting is growing and roaring in me. Okay, we understand that. Okay, next, the cut happened with, okay, maybe they didn't see me staring at their little screens. So this is an example of needing to respond to something that doesn't happen in front of you in the audition room, right? On stage, one of the high school kids would probably like hit you with one of those trays and spill chili all over you or something, okay? So you have to go from it roars, like belting. And then in your imagination, you have to see a kid like body checking you to the ground, okay? Or like you just got splattered with like fucking slushy, like totally Glee style with Lea Michele, okay? So you have to pretend like you just got like splashed with something and then it changes, right? You're responding to the fact that you got splashed, okay? That is in essence a way to use your imagination to really actually learn to react to something. Your imagination is giving you something to react to, but then you are still responding honestly and truthfully to that stimulus. Does that make sense? So we got facts, learn what's going on in the scene. Circumstance, what happened right before that's causing you to do the scene or the song. Point of view, who are you talking to and what are your opinions about everything that's happening in the scene and from the facts? Then we got objective. What does the character need in the scene? Like, what are they trying to get? And then you're going to make it alive, especially in a scene, by writing in, the lines in between, right? So that you have something to respond to. That is like recipe, chef's kiss of how to get started in making your playpen so that you can actually play and explore within the scene. And then you can do what everybody's always talking about, which is to discover, quote unquote, as you're working, what works, right? Because some of the stuff you might decide and you might be like, oh, that's not as strong. I want to change that out. Or I think I could do this differently. And then you'll do it. And then you'll discover like, hey, this works better. And ooh, I was thinking this. What if this happened? And then it basically, again, playpen is the correct word. It creates a safe space for you to actually find and discover choices to make because you've made it clear enough to understand how and where you're playing. I hope this was helpful. Reminder that at this time, you should be able to download the free Abundant Artist audio track. This is going to help get your brain and body on board for all the success that you want. It's really pretty fierce and it's a little teaser. There's going to be something more added later that you're going to be obsessed with, and I can't wait to share it with you. So check the link in the show notes, get that Abundant Artist audio series. Reminder, if you love this show, don't be afraid to leave a 5-star review. Take a screenshot of it, email it to me, singerspath@gmail.com, and I will enter you to win a free lesson. I'm going to be doing a drawing here very soon. I'm very excited about it. And I probably go on TikTok Live and announce it to my emails and everything. So that's why it's important that if you take a screenshot, so I have your email and I know that it's you that wrote us the review. Obviously, writing these reviews helps us get it out to more people, which is really great. Again, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's very punchy, very information-packed. And I'll talk to you next time. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a 5-star written review on Apple Podcasts. This helps me get this information out to more artists all over the world. Let's work together to spread the joys of music. Until next time, I'm your host, Sarah Bishop, signing off from the Singer's Path podcast. Thanks for listening.